The Jets not the only team making news from the New York area. The Giants, in an effort to try to improve, specifically as it relates to a woeful core of pass catchers, have acquired tight end Darren Waller from the Raiders for a third-round pick. It's the same third-round pick they got from the Chiefs for Kadarius Toney. So essentially, they've traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller. When you think of it that way, not a bad trade. Now, Waller may want his contract to be adjusted, even though he got a new deal. I think it was last year. It wasn't great. And he got that new deal, and then there was talk about him possibly being traded to the Packers at one point during the 2022 season as the deadline approached. So, right city, wrong team. Not traded to the Jets, traded to the Giants for that third-round pick, and he instantly becomes, frankly, all due respect to Isaiah Hodgins, who's a great story, but Darren Waller ultimately becomes and immediately becomes the best pass-catching option in that offense, Chris.
Definitely. I mean, it's a game-changing type player here. Kind of the shocking news of really free agency over the last few days. I mean, I just did not see this one coming. That's where it's a shock. And then, to get this player, in an offense with first off a quarterback who is got a good arm, a good decision maker, and already knows how to use the tight end. And then you got a Brian Daboll who's, of course, been in New England and other places and shown his ability to use the tight end position. So that's where it's special and cool, and of course this guy's a mismatch. So yeah, he automatically becomes a game changer that way. I think the shock of the whole thing, more than anything, is just that they got this caliber of player for a third-round pick. I think that's where, I had to sit there and go, wait, how does that make sense? How did that work out that way? And I think that was where I was a little surprised to see them grab that guy. But I think when you kind of connect some dots there, it makes a little more sense, as we unpack this.
He has been around for a while. He's 30
he's older
years
than
old,
people realize.
Right. His first big year was 2019 with 1,145 receiving yards. He had nearly 1,200 in 2020. Fell off in 21 with 11 games, 685. Last year was his low ever since he declared himself. Remember, he had serious substance abuse issues that he overcame. It's a great, inspiring story, and he's done very, very well for himself. And we continue to wish him the best on that road because it's not a road that ever ends as you try to recover from those kinds of issues. Last year, though, only appeared in 9 games with 6 starts, 388 receiving yards, hamstring injury. And anytime there's a lingering hamstring problem, you wonder if the team is thinking this guy still isn't happy with his contract or he's not happy with the new regime. Are they happy with him? And look, they add Jacoby Myers. They still have Devontae Adams. They still have Hunter Renfrow. They still have Josh Jacobs. You only have one football.
That's right.
Jimmy Garoppolo is the new quarterback. He's not exactly a guy who sprays it around all over the field. And, they get what they can and they move on. I'd like to know who else was involved and was that the best offer? Or, like the Packers, were the Raiders just wanting to get this guy out of the conference and maybe they took less to get him to the Giants than maybe they could have gotten if they would have kept him somewhere else in the AFC or even in the AFC West?
Yeah, I would think they take the best offer unless it's somebody in the AFC West. You're right. That might change things totally altogether. I think you're kind of saying it right. I mean, first off, that's the number one thing that came to my mind, the thing you just explained. The age along with the injury history, are they a little bit like, oh, we're not sure. We're not sure where this is going to go. And, like you said, we paid Jacoby Myers good money. Devontae Adams is the highest paid receiver in football, right? Hunter Renfrow is being paid pretty well. And now they just go, okay, we can't have all the assets in the world, to your point. And then I think when you couple that on top of Mike, I think that, they're sitting in a spot in the top 10 in the draft where they're going to be in tight end. They're going to be in a spot to grab a tight end. This is a draft. Tight end is a strong position for this year's draft. So I would think that's another way they looked at it to go, okay, wait, we might not get somebody quite his caliber of player, but we can still fill the position, right, with a really good player here. Whether it is a top 10 pick, I haven't studied the tight ends yet to know if there's one worthy of that. Sounds like there's one or two that might be in that area, but certainly, later on in the draft, they might be able to dive down that road as well in the second round or whatever else. So I would think this is more of a move big picture for the Raiders overall, knowing they can't pay everybody and they got some holes to fill on the defensive side of the ball still too.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.